Reddit posts, https://www.reddit.com/r/malicious compliance. So you want to make sure our shed is to code, SOC. I love malicious compliance. Our neighbor reported our old, but sturdy, shed to the city for being too large without a permit. Inspector comes out, measures, nope, the shed is well under the size limits and doesn't need a permit. Husband starts asking questions about the rules and gets all the specifics on what is allowed. The shed is old and very basic, why not have a bigger, better shed? Oh, and BTW, the inspector knows the neighbor, she used to work in the planning department, knows the rules and clearly was just trying to make trouble, her M.O. He looks into her property and says he can see a good half-dozen issues if we'd like to report them. We laugh, but nah, we're gonna go the malicious compliance route. We rip down the shed, hoping neighbor is smugly gloating to herself. We do nothing for 3 weeks, well, except draw up plans, buy material, lay the foundation and line up a couple construction friends to help. Then one Saturday our glorious big new shed goes up. Now we hadn't heard from this neighbor in the 3 weeks, but now she's asking about our new shed, she'd love to see inside if we don't mind. We did. Cue another inspection notice for building a granny flat, the shed, on our property. Obviously the inspection goes fine. Well, except those violations on neighbor's property. That unpermitted open fire pit built right against the retaining wall and fence is a concern. We don't want it burning down our new shed, haha. She's got a couple guys out there right now jackhammering out concrete. I think I'll go offer them some cold drinks from the mini fridge in the new shed. My co-worker took a long break and said she didn't care if I did the same. So I did. Moc many years ago I worked at a gas station. It wasn't a big, fancy station. No. It was a satellite of a grocery store. Nothing more than a tiny kiosk next to a dozen pumps. I have a lot of stories about that place, but only one is really appropriate for this sub. My co-workers ranged from cool to worthless. This story is about one of the worthless ones. Let's call her Sandy. Sandy was fairly new to our kiosk but not to the job, having transferred over from another gas station in the company. Right out of the gate this was a problem. She had her way of doing things and we had ours. Naturally, Sandy expected all of her new co-workers to change to suit her, not the other way around. One day it was me and Sandy on the afternoon shift. There were only ever 2 employees, only enough space for 2 people in that shack of a gas station, so we covered each other's breaks. Normally, because I'm a team player, I would take my breaks in the little office in the back. If my co-workers needed me, all they had to do was yell. But on that particular Friday, Sandy and I had a problem. She decided to take both of her breaks at once. It wasn't uncommon for us to take a 45-minute break instead of a half and a 15, but it was something we had to clear with our co-workers before doing. It was also against company policy, but we didn't really give a damn about that. An hour before rush hour, the busiest time of day with the largest concentration of shitty customers, she wanted to take her break. That's fine. Nothing wrong. I told her I would take my half hour after hers, then we'd both run tills for the rush. Half an hour came and went. She didn't come back. Another half hour during which I should have been on break, still not back. Another 15 minutes, she comes in and gets on till. No apologies for taking a long break unannounced, or for coming back late from that long break. When I mentioned it, she replied, "I don't know why you're getting so pissy, all you ever do is sit in the back. And I wouldn't get upset with you if you took a long break." So I told her, "I'll hold you to that." Then I walked out. I bought a paper, went down the street to Edo, sat down with a big bowl of noodles and veggies and took my sweet time. All the 9-to-5ers on their way home from work were her problem. Exactly 45 minutes after I left, I made damn sure it was to the minute, I walked back into the kiosk. Sandy was not behind the till. My manager was. Apparently Sandy couldn't handle the situation and started crying. I don't know if it was me just walking out, the workload or any particular customer that got to her. My manager was called, drove into town and took over until I came back. Let's call her Tam. Tam wasn't angry with me. Not anymore, at least. She was pretty pissed when she showed up to relieve Sandy. Poor girl had to be sent home, but she had found a brief window in which to check the security cameras. It turns out Sandy told her that she had taken her half-hour break earlier, then I didn't bother taking mine until the rush because I didn't want to work. Tam decided to check that on the cameras, and by the time I came back she already knew Sandy was lying to her. I didn't have to say a damn thing in my own defense. Sandy was punished for the long break and the lying, but was not fired. However, on the rare occasion we were scheduled together afterwards, she took her breaks when and for how long I told her to. Good times. Air Force commander makes a dumb policy. We all follow it to the letter out of spite, and the commander gets taken down a few pegs by the local chief of police. Moc While I was in the Air Force we had a commander that was all about looking great to the public and nothing else. He didn't care for morale, personal time, or his troops in any way, shape or form. In fact, he became our commander as a punishment when he was caught banging a deployed enlisted member's wife. He came from a family of a few 2- and 3-star generals, and because he got in trouble he was forced to command our shitty squadron with a forced retirement at LTCOL after 2 years. So basically he hated us and we hated him the moment we saw each other. We knew how he got in trouble before he got to us and we didn't take too kindly to it. For context, I was security forces, police, and part of our job is manning the gates and checking IDs for people coming in. There was always a morning rush from everyone coming into work at the same time that would cause traffic to back up. We would do things to try to get the cars moving faster, but no matter what we did it was always a problem, and of course it was always the new airman's fault that everyone starts work at the same time, so the gate guards always got yelled at a lot. Well, our fearless commander got a hair up his ass and thought it would be great if we said a prepared speech to everyone when they came in to show how disciplined we are. The speech went as follows: hello drivers, rank and name. Welcome to installation name, home of the aircraft the installation was known for and the home of our squadron name. Your ID will expire on date, your vehicle's registration will expire on date on the sticker on their windshield. I authorize you to enter installation name. Have a great Air Force Day. Obviously everyone besides the leadership knew this was the dumbest thing ever, but the commander said we have to do it, so we have to do it. The young airmen were complaining about it when we all got on the same page at the same time. We decided that we were going to say the whole speech as slowly and clearly as possible to make sure everyone heard us. And we would do this to every single car with no exception. If the car had a passenger we would repeat the speech with their information after doing it to the driver. If there was another passenger in the back we would repeat it again. When our own chain of command would drive through they would try to stop us from saying it, but he would keep their idea until we were done. Morning traffic went from being 2 hours long to 4 hours because of how long it took to get in, and created a lunch rush that never existed before. Many times we were yelled at about how long it took. We were making everyone late to work, and how much they hate that speech, so we would tell them this is per our commander's request and his office phone number is public if you would like to talk to him about it. The traffic got so backed up the local police had to direct traffic outside the base as the line of cars grew to a mile or two long. This lasted 3 days before the chief of police for the local city and our base commander let our commander know how they really felt about it. When we were told we no longer had to do it, our shift supervisor told us he had never been so proud of us. Having the second highest ranking person on that base tell me to my face that speech was so fucking dumb. Never say that again. As he drove off is the highlight of my Air Force career. Edit, it was dias over a decade ago.